Hi, welcome once again to yet another video from miracles.for me. This is David Cameron Gikandi, and once again, I'm very grateful and thankful that you decided to spend some of your time on one of our videos. Thank you, I honor that. So, I am really here to give you a lot of value because you've chosen to spend your valuable time with us. Now, in this video, we're going to be looking at what I call the here now prayer. Okay. This prayer is designed to bring you back to the here now and to remind you of who you really are. Once you're in the here now and once you remember who you really are, you'll be surprised how much the rest of your life falls into place. Yeah, everything else just starts to fall into place. Things start working out, everything, because our life's problems tend to come from forgetting who we really are. Okay. So in that way, we lose power, we lose everything, we lose grace and all that. And then we have problems. And also being in the mind, being, worrying about the future, being stuck in the past, not being in the present. So once you're in the here now and you remember who you really are, that's about it. I mean, you're done, right? And you're about to see why it's a prayer. Okay, because you're thinking, why not a meditation? Yes, it works hand in hand with deep meditation as well. It works hand in hand with a lot of things, but it's basically a prayer because you are communion. You are connecting with your higher self, your higher power. You know, that part of you that is beyond space and time, that part of you that still remembers who you really are, you're connecting with it. That is the point of prayer. Prayer is that communication device. It's kind of like imagination on steroids, okay? That's what prayer is, because you're directing your intent of communication with your higher power, your higher self, okay? The part of you that does remember who you really are. And that way it can remind you and guide you and all that. And because of that connection, it brings you back. It's kind of like hanging out, like when they say the company you keep determines the choices you'll make in life. For example, if you hang out with people who are very troubled, you'll tend to end up being troubled. If you hang out with people who are very abundant and in the flow, you'll tend to end up in abundance and in the flow. This is the same thing. This, by hanging out with one that knows and remembers and never forgets who you really are, you will tend to also remember and never forget who you really are. So let's get right into it, right? This quote is so important before we get into this. If the doors of perception were cleansed, everything would appear to man as it is, which is infinite. Okay? This quote, if at all you've been taking the Power of One course, and in that course, which we provide at miracles.for.me, Power of One, and in that course you've had a look at the quantum field module, you will and also the Cause in Miracles modules, you realize that life really is one huge, infinite, amazing, abundant, loving thing. But our perception and our belief in the illusion of separation cause us to see it to be not what it is. And also in the meditation video, if at all you've had a look at it, the deep meditation one, you will also recall from that through deep meditation, we cleanse our perception, we cleanse our nervous system, and in that way, we experience our true nature. And when we do that, we also, once again, we realize that it is one infinite, abundant, amazing, loving, thing. So this prayer is designed to also remind you, wake you up to that. Okay, it is a prayer of cleansing, of the cleansing of perception. Now, have you ever seen this before? This is what is called the Lord's Prayer in other circles, like in the Bible, okay? And this is the only one that Jesus taught. It says, Our Father who art in heaven, blah, blah, blah. If at all you've been to Sunday school, you've probably said this. But the way you're going to see it now will blow your mind. It's the same prayer, but we're going to give it a very radical interpretation. A radical interpretation of the only prayer that, according to records, Jesus taught. Okay, because you'd wonder, why come all this way, claim you're the Son of God and all that sort of stuff, and then just teach these couple of lines? Why? So it's fine. Whatever other meaning you've given this prayer, if at all you've ever heard it before, that's fine. I'm not gonna try and negate it, but I'm gonna give you a totally radical reinterpretation of it right here. I call it the here now prayer because calling it the Lord's Prayer, it's kind of, to me, it's kind of weird. You want to call it what it does, and to me, this is what it does. So let's get right into it, okay? First of all, why this prayer, okay? Well, and before I get into it, by the way, I would like to make one quick disclaimer right here. A lot of what we're going to talk about, I apologize. I saw this several years ago in a book, and I forgot what book it was, and I forgot who the author was. So I'm sorry if you're out there. I'm not plagiarizing your work. I'm giving credit. It's just I don't remember where I got this. This was years ago, and I remember I made notes and stuff. So let me also just say that this, so this is not all original. It's not originally my work. All of it. Once again, I got inspired by someone, and I made notes, and I just got the notes out, cleaned them up, and now I'm presenting this to you. So I apologize, and I would be happy to give credit to whoever it is, if at all. I just wanted to say that because I don't want to sound like I came up with this. I actually learned this as well. So, anyways, let's get into this. Why this prayer? Well, what we see in the Lord's Prayer are the experiences that activate our mind most of all. When you look at the Lord's Prayer, you look at, they're talking about the daily bread, forgiveness, temptation. You see, it's like, give us their daily bread. We're always thinking like, where am I going to get money? I got bills, so, that occupies our minds a lot. Forgiveness, is a big, big thing. By forgiveness, even it means not just like somebody did you wrong, but like believing in an illusion. You see, forgiveness, the biggest aspect of forgiveness, and you'll realize this when you look at the modules on A Course in Miracles in the Power of One at miracles.for.me, is that forgiveness is not so much as like, somebody says, I'm sorry, and you say, okay, I forgive you. No, that's not it. The real meaning of forgiveness is seeing past the illusions. So, if let's say like you have an illusion that the world is in such a way, or you are damaged, or you are less than you think you are, whatever, that's all an illusion. Forgiveness is literally giving up the illusion so that you can see the truth, that you are not damaged, that the world is different from what you thought it was. That's forgiveness. It literally means letting go of illusions. Okay, and temptation. Once again, temptation and forgiveness are dealing with illusions versus reality. Okay. So the reason why it really deals with this a lot is because the primary function of this prayer, or a primary function of this prayer, is to put our minds to rest so that we can simply be present in heaven. And heaven, by the way, is not a place that you go to when you die, at least the way I understand it, we understand it. It is instead, it is a state, or the recognition, the living in a state of oneness with Creator. That is heaven. Hell is living in a state of separation with the Creator. The illusion of separation is hell. So it's not a place where you go and burn, okay? It is that limiting, fearful experience that you have when you buy into the illusion of separation, okay? Heaven is the opposite. The bliss and power and joy and unconditional love when you are back to your normal state of oneness with Creator, okay? So that's the point of this prayer. Now, our egos identify themselves by what they do and accomplish. You see, let's do this, let's get that done. That's how we sort of like get a sense of self-worth. And that sense actually is egotistic, okay? So, all activities of determining what is good and bad, right or wrong, including the actions that we take, whatever, that is all activities of the ego. And that is how it identifies itself. Have you noticed how good you feel when you prove yourself right? Yeah. And the other guy is wrong or bad, you see? That's all work of the ego. Now, without any of that, the ego starts to lose its strength. Yeah. It starts to die. And this experience of being diminished feels like death. Okay, this prayer is actually also designed to release the strength of the ego from its grips upon you. Well, it's not that way. It's rather like to release your grip on the idea that the ego is you. Okay, it will feel like death, but that's fine. One day you'll realize that it is not you who is dying. Instead, it is the idea of separation that is dying, the idea that has convinced you that you and it are one. You see what I mean? Okay. So, what the Lord's Prayer is designed to do is to move our awareness of ourselves as, primarily physical beings, or in mathematical terms, what we call the cube. So, the Lord's Prayer is designed to move our awareness from that idea that we are just physical beings and move our mind into the idea that we are spiritual inner to the we are like we are beyond space and time. We are like light. We are spirit, you could say. Okay. And this mathematically or metaphysically is referred to as the star tetrahedron, but you don't have to worry about the cube and the star tetrahedron. I just threw it in there for those people who understand what I'm talking about here. Yeah. So that's the point of the Lord's Prayer. It is to shift us from this identification of thinking we are separate physical beings to a recognition of who we really are. Okay? Yeah? Does that make sense? So let's read the last paragraph here. Love doesn't judge anything. So in love, our egos don't have much to do. To have heavenly lives, which means lives of oneness with Creator, experience that, we must train our minds to let go and get out of our way. What prevents us from eating the peach, in quotes, smelling the roses, or from enjoying anything is actually thinking. And we're talking about those thoughts that come from the ego, the illusion of separation. Okay? All that noise, just also like we learned in the meditation video, that noise is what prevents us from seeing the bliss that is always within us. Okay? And remember, we do know now for a fact, even scientifically, that as you think in your heart, or in other words, as you believe, so shall you become. So if you value and you're always on the noise, the thoughts and everything of separation and fear and everything, that's what you shall become. When you drop those, you're back to what you always were, really. Okay? So I think we've sort of like covered why this prayer. I think we can see where what it's actually designed to do. Okay, it's not so we can like get rich and get good things on this planet. It's actually to wake us up. Okay, that's why it was actually brought here. So now we're going to go through the prayers. You can see this is it. This is the prayer right here. So now what we're going to do, each slide, we're going to just cover the meaning of each phrase. So the way the prayer goes is, Our Father who art in heaven, like that. So Our Father. When you say Our Father, say it as you feel yourself. Now I'm teaching you how to say this prayer with the radical interpretation. Okay? And the radical interpretation includes how you feel as you say the different sentences. Okay? So that's what now we're looking at. So as you say Our Father, feel yourself connecting with your source within. And this will make more sense if you've been doing deep meditation, because you'll have actually experienced the source within. Okay? So feel yourself connecting with the source within as you say Our Father. You see, it reminds you that you and the Creator are one. This is the point of this sentence. It reminds you that you and the Creator are one. Now, how you also increase this feeling is to be totally free to simply be. As you are, simply be. The freer we are to simply be, the more we will experience our divine or royal heritage as the Creator's sonship. Now, each of us is a unique expression of our Creator. And our Creator is love, literally. Love, God, Creator is the same, okay? The more loving we are, the more we connect with Source. Love is what humbles and lifts our awareness to see the divine in all things, okay? Love is the ultimate expression of freedom. Love perfectly betrays every false belief and thus delivers us from the illusion, or rather from, what they say is evil is actually another word for illusion, okay? It's what delivers us from the illusion of separation by shining upon false beliefs, and therefore the false beliefs drop and what is left is only reality, and in this way it delivers us from the illusion of separation until only the truth of love remains. setting us free to simply be. You see, they're sort of connected. Simply be, love is the ultimate freedom, and then that causes more ability to simply, the freedom to simply be. It's a cycle, you see. Okay. And by the way, you see this sentence? Love is what humbles and leads our awareness to see the divinity in all things. I had an experience, a revelation experience, which I talk about in my course, The Power of One, in course in Miracles modules. And in this, I experienced a period whereby, totally just a normal day. I'm going to get the car fixed. I'm totally sober, I guarantee you that. And all of a sudden, the life, my environment everywhere, the streets, the people, the trees, the sunlight, everything, all of a sudden just took on a magnificence of life, one that I've never seen before. In other words, when I look at things now, they seem dead compared to how they looked then. Then they looked alive, you see? And it's kind of like your eyes open and they see the divinity and the life in everything. Even the rocks come to life. They don't walk around, but you can feel that there is intelligence and life in them. And they are actually giving you the most profound thoughts. Profound. Even the rock itself is alive. It's amazing what happens. It's a shift in perspective. It's really, really powerful and deep, right? So that's the power of love. I was just giving you my personal example, which is just one of many examples, okay? Now, we honor and express our true selves by letting our inner light shine, okay? To your own self, be true. And being true is simply being fully present in the here now. So, once again, as you say, our Father, just kind of like embody this, embody what we've just talked about, and you will feel it deep within you that you really are one with your Creator, So again, it starts to purify you, purify your nervous system. So second phrase in the prayer is, who art in heaven. Now, heaven is not a place that you die and go to. It is a state of oneness with the Creator, with here now. Yeah. So as you say, in heaven, be fully present in the present moment as much as you can, okay? Feel peaceful, because feeling peaceful is a key. Remember, peace comes from when we surrender our ego's agenda to simply see what is. In other words, you're not at war, you're not at conflict with what is, you're not at conflict with the present moment, you're not at war with the here now. That's peace, okay? Peace comes when we surrender our ego's agenda and instead we simply see what is, without needing to negate it or to affirm it or to hold on to it or to resist it or to seek anything else. Simply what is. When you embrace what is, you have peace. And when you have peace, you're entering the kingdom of heaven. Okay? And heaven is the state of oneness with the Creator, with the here now. Do you see how they all connect? So we usually get stuck at seeking. We're always seeking. As human beings, we're like, oh, I want to reach the next level. I want to go to India and find God, whatever. We're always seeking, right? And then we get stuck at seeking. So it's important to remember that the more we get in touch with our own peaceful center, and that the more we do that, the more we see the Creator's presence within and all around us. And that way we get unstuck from seeking. Yeah, we get unstuck from negating or affirming. Assuming that blessings already are is how we let our I be single, that unity consciousness. Okay? Seeing everything as a blessing is how we open our minds to our mind's eye to the truth, and that truth sets us free. Once you see everything as a blessing, then this is like a gateway to truth and to freedom. Okay. Typically, as human beings, we negate and devalue what we do not want to see, while we affirm and value what we do want to see. Yeah. And what we all want to see is what we believe, not necessarily because that's what we like or want, but because being right makes us feel safe and secure. In other words, we humans have this innate need to feel safe. yeah, to feel secure, okay? And so we tend to place our value on what makes us feel safe and secure, okay? And sometimes that is just being right. We just like being right, makes us feel safe, okay? Um, and so we devalue whatever doesn't. In other words, we're not looking at the truth. Instead of seeking truth, we're seeking temporary comfort or temporary safety, okay? Now, you can avoid that very normal human trap of favoring illusion over truth by simply assuming that in every moment, everything, in all moments of the here and now, everything that's happening has a built-in blessing for you. The blessings already are. So there's nothing really to affirm or negate. Once you can come from that position, you realize then you've already defeated your ego's agenda of trying to separate things from like, this should be, this shouldn't, that is good, that is bad. I want that dead, I want more of that. You know what I mean? So once you've done that, you start to get your freedom back, okay? So peace comes as we surrender our ego's agenda to and we surrender that agenda so that we can simply see what is. Peace is neither affirming or negating or seeking, but it is simply seeing the perfection of our Creator who is always and everywhere present. Do you see? Connect what we just said in this last paragraph with what we just saw in this first paragraph. Heaven is not a place that you die to go to. It is a state of oneness with the Creator here now. The blessings already are. Peace comes. Do you see how they all connect? So as you say, who art in heaven, again, you bring that into your awareness as you say it. So you can start to see how this is actually building up a cleansing of our perception, isn't it? So the next sentence in this prayer is, holy is thy name. So as you say, holy is thy name, as you say that, actively listen to the divine within you for his response, okay? And do so with the intent of experience divine communion, you know, that you can talk to your maker because you are literally are one, okay? Now the key here is to feel joyful. Remember the key here, who art in heaven, was to feel peaceful. The key here was to feel loving. The key here is to feel joyful. As you feel joy, joy creates the communion, the connection to talk, okay? So we experience joy in the realization that the higher self resides within us. And if you deep meditate, you will experience this simply by doing the meditation, okay? So I recommend that you also do deep meditation as, you know, well, not at the same time as you're doing this prayer, but, you know, by doing deep meditation, a lot of what we're talking about here will become self-evident, okay? So the more we get in touch with the joy within us, the more we will be in communion with our Creator. Listen and speak with this intent, and your heart will follow. The next one is, thy kingdom come, thy will be done, as it is in heaven, so also in earth. This is the original way it was written. I've noticed that in some new versions it's written a bit differently. It's something like, in the new version it's written something like, thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. But it was actually written like this, as it is in heaven, so also in earth. Okay? Cool. So, say thy kingdom come, thy will be done as it is in heaven, so also on earth, while assuming the Creator's will is that we be present with it now. In other words, God's will is that our will is one with God's will. You understand what I mean? So, in other words, it's kind of like saying, in quotes, I am letting go of selectively repelling and attracting. I'm letting go of judging. I am grateful for it all. Okay? So in this way, your will is no longer at war with here now, or with the Creator's will. By letting go of judging, of selectively repelling and attracting, of this is good and bad, whatever, of just being grateful for it all instead of, you know, holding on to repelling and attracting, instead you just be grateful for it all. By doing that, you find unity, oneness, okay? In the spirit of gratitude, we are naturally more present and therefore more capable of receiving our Father's love for us. Remember that feeling grateful is the key. So here, in this one, feeling grateful is the key. The more grateful you feel, the freer you will be to experience the blessings that already are. Heaven is here now. It is all around you. It is in your home. It is your home. It is outside, it is it's everything, it's everywhere, but it is your home. It is not just your home, it is you, your true who you really are. You can never leave it, but you can fail to see it. If you are to drop your ego, which means your belief in a separate self, or your belief in the illusion of separation, if you were to drop it even for a moment, you would see it right here in all its glory, and it would astound you. Everything would just seem alive and you'd feel like you're one with everything. This has happened to me. Maybe it wasn't, the way I understand it, that was a revelation, but I did feel a unity with everything. It was so amazing. It was just, I got a moment. I don't know, I wasn't looking at the clock, but I got maybe about, I would say 20 minutes maybe. And the most amazing thing, but you can't chase it. You cannot chase it. The minute I started freaking out because I started thinking, oh my God, I'm greeting like a kid, like an idiot. I'm in the car dealership. Everyone must think I'm an idiot. I actually had a small moment of self-doubt, and it disappeared, So it's kind of like it's not that it's sensitive, but it allows you to be whatever your belief is. So the minute you believe, oh my God, because I am so blissful, I must look like an idiot to everybody else, and I don't want to look like an idiot, it disappears. You see, that's what happened to me. So it's so kind of sensitive. It doesn't force its way. As you think in your heart, so are you. It allows that to happen. Our heartfelt fears, confusion, and conflicts usually prevent us from focusing long enough to manifest anything much beyond the range of our, in quotes, normal experiences. We may, however, rise above the limits of our human hearts by being grateful for everything, by saying thank you, Father, for absolutely everything. We affirm the blessings already are. As we align our willful hearts with our Father's heart or will, we stop interfering with how His heavenly love or will is creating what is best for us. I think that is self-evident. But as you say this, the kingdom come, the will be done as it is in heaven, so also in earth, and you embody what we've just discussed here, again, you can see the power of this prayer. Can you see why this is the only one that Jesus is on record as having taught? If you look at it this way, okay? Then the next sentence is, give us this day our daily bread. Now, say, give us this day our daily bread, while opening yourself up to receiving this day as it is given to you by your Father. As it is given to you. No judgment, no saying, oh no, I didn't want that, that's crap. As it is given. That's when you start to realize that the blessings already are. Remember, what you appreciate appreciates. Okay? The same thing that could look like crap to you, if you give it to somebody who appreciates, all of a sudden it could make them the most amazing, happy, abundantly enriched person, simply by that one action, okay, by that attitude. So by praying, give us this day our daily bread, we accept creative responsibility for our responses to what life brings us. You see, these two go together. Because you have said, give us this day our daily bread, you have accepted that whatever is given to you as is what is best for you that day, okay? You can choose different for the next moment, but in the moment, what you receive is perfect. If you come from that idea that the Creator or life will never give you anything that is not perfect for you, that it's always in every moment giving you what's perfect for you, no matter how it looks like, it's a very different way of approaching life and understanding life and so on than when you think that, oh, sometimes I'm lucky and the Creator gives me what is right for me, and sometimes I'm just doomed and cursed. You know what I mean? So by accepting that, then you accept that this is what you've asked for. You've been given what you've asked for, even though you don't recognize it as such. So this is what we mean by accepting creative responsibility. Now, remember that appreciating is the key. So here in this one, appreciation is the key. Okay? Appreciate whatever you get, you're grateful. Appreciation. We tend to get stuck because of how we respond to life. Okay? And responding with appreciation for everything is how we get unstuck. The more we can appreciate, the more we may experience both happiness and unhappiness as valuable guidance towards creating a better life from the blessings that already are. Okay? So both the things that make you happy and the things that make you unhappy, both of them, okay, you appreciate. And you realize that they're both, even though they're not giving you the emotion that you want, maybe you want to be happy all the time, even though you're not getting that addicted emotion, it's still good for you. It's still guiding you towards creating a better life. So the blessings already are, okay? That is the attitude. That it's not about you being happy all the time. It's about you always getting what you need to grow and have a better life. Sometimes it is exactly what your ego doesn't like, and your ego is going to scream and go, I hate this. Doesn't matter. Appreciate it. Okay? Now, by reacting positively to what makes us happy and negatively to what makes us unhappy, by judging and selecting from life, we just perpetuate our current reality. Judgment, in other words, what you resist persists. You see? So when you're there busy judging and selecting and saying, no, I want that, but not that, whatever, you're just staying stuck. It doesn't help you. Then you feel trapped and bored, and then that makes you even more unhappy. And then you think life did something to you and you feel like a victim. But it's actually happening because of judgment. Okay? Because you're judging, you're selecting. We liberate ourselves by coming to appreciate the valuable gift that this daily bread represents. By appreciating both what we like and dislike as valuable insights for improving our lives, we liberate ourselves to create something better. You see, even when you get something you don't like, it's giving you a chance to choose anew. So this is not saying that, oh, just be a sucker and lie down and let all the crap be poured upon you. That's not what we're talking about here. We're saying that in every moment, everything that comes in every moment is for you. Okay? Life is happening for you, not against you. It's happening for you. So if you get something that you don't like, choose differently. But accept and appreciate what you did get then. Okay? See, there is a difference there. So happiness has no boundaries or limits when it is not based on what happens, but on who we truly are. If you base your happiness on what is happening, then you're gonna find boundaries and limits to your happiness. But when you base your happiness on who you truly are, you'll find that there are no boundaries or limits. We claim the freedom to simply be in the heavenly present by praying, give us this day our daily bread. In the spirit of appreciation, we may assimilate the blessings of this day to create something better. The next one is, and forgive us our trespasses as we forgive those who trespass against us. Now, say, and forgive us our trespasses as we forgive those who trespass against us, while releasing the past, all of it, both the good and the bad. To digest and assimilate this day our daily bread, we must let go of the past, which is what we call forgiveness. Acceptance is the key word here. We must let go of the past to discern and accept the blessings that our Father is bestowing upon us now. Knowing what is right or wrong is what prevents us from really experiencing life. That whole thing of, the apple from the tree of knowledge of good and evil, when Eve and Adam ate the apple and they gained the knowledge of good and evil and they were kicked out of heaven. Think of that metaphor with what we just said right here. Judging that this is right and this is wrong, pretending that you are the one who knows best what is right and what is wrong, is what prevents you from really experiencing life with a capital L. That's what pops you out of the here now. That's what pops you out of the experience of heaven, which is, oneness with the Creator. Do you start to see how this sort of fits the whole the mythical story of Adam and Eve eating from the tree of knowledge of good and evil, right or wrong? Do you start to see how that metaphor fits? The mythology fits the direct experience that you can get even when you meditate, yeah, And when you meditate, deep meditation, and you drop all the judgments and you start to touch on that feeling or that knowingness or that experience of oneness, you see. Therefore, opening to accept more than we know enables us to discern, trust, and experience to know even more. Yeah. It's kind of fun how a lot of the mythologies of life, everywhere from ancient Egypt to Christianity to Hinduism to whatever, Buddhism, when you look at them in a different way, you get a totally different meaning, and I really love that. I like, for example, I really like this apple mythology. It's really cool. The tree of good and evil, the tree of knowledge. Remember, it says that Adam and Eve, once they ate the apple, they gained the knowledge of good and evil, right or wrong. Yeah, and immediately because of gaining that knowledge, they were kicked out of paradise. And you'd think, what? Why would anyone do that? Why would God kick out a couple of guys for eating an apple that gave them knowledge? You know, but it's this coding. It's a coded message. Can you see now? Okay. So accepting is the purest form of forgiveness. This is like the opposite of judging. Yeah. Opening to accept more than we know. Accepting more than we know. You see this whole idea that I know, I am the judge, I know what's right and wrong for me, what's, whatever. It takes great courage to opening up to accept more than you know. But when you do that, it enables you to discern, to trust, and to experience, more even than you've ever thought was good for you. You realize indeed life is working for you. Okay? But when you're fighting with it, when you're pretending to be the judge to try and murder part of it and keep part of it running forever, then you're interfering with that process, you see. So accepting is the purest form of forgiveness. And ultimately, we must forgive ourselves for judging ourselves so that we can fully accept ourselves and everyone else. Ultimately, we must forgive ourselves because we've judged ourselves so much. And when we do that, we are able to fully accept ourselves. When we can do that, then we can accept other people. When we can love ourselves unconditionally, we can love others unconditionally. Our universe will then change. Okay? The more we can accept, the more we can discern, trust, and know. So it's kind of like contradiction. We think that the more we can judge is the more we can know, right? But it's actually the other way around. The more we can accept, the more we can know. Okay? And we sacrifice what we know to discern, trust, and know even more. So that the minute you know something, you don't stay there and you don't get stuck and then judge the rest of life by what you've just known. Again, you sacrifice that. And by sacrificing that, once again, we open up to know and discern and trust even more. And again, the cycle repeats. Okay? You see? So, ultimately, you must forgive yourself. In other words, accept and learn and love yourself fully so that you can be able to forgive and accept and love others. And when we mean others, don't mean only other people, but also life situations. You see? So this is all about acceptance, dropping judgment. This is what this is. Forgive us our trespasses as we forgive those who trespass against us. You see how that whole thing works? I hope so. I think that's clear now. Lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. As you say that, let go of your holding onto or resisting against the illusions of the world, the illusions of your mind. Look, we talked about resistance and attachment. Okay, holding on to or resisting. Whatever it is you're resisting is an illusion of the mind, okay? Think about that carefully and you realize it is so. Whatever you're attaching to when you're like, remember, suffering comes from two things. Something happens in the here now, you're resisting, you're saying, no, this should not be happening in the here now. But it is. Or another way it comes is the opposite of resistance, attachment. There's something in the here now, and because in this human life, everything change is the only constant, So that thing starts to go away and you become addicted to it. So you're attached to it and you fight it going away, but it's still going to go, and then you suffer. So you suffer when you're attached to something, you suffer when you resist something. But again, like we just saw in the previous paragraphs, these are illusions of your mind. Okay? And again, as we saw before, the word evil is actually standing for the word illusion. Okay? Temptation, you can say, is standing for attachment and resistance. Resistance and attachment. The temptation to hold on to, or the temptation to resist evil, the illusions of the mind. You see? So more is not measured by what we can hold on to or possess. No. More is what flows through us that gives us a true experience of abundance. So in other words, flow. Not attachment and resistance, but flow. The more we give of ourselves by simply being present, the more we open up and are able to receive. So I think that's clear. But can you see how this prayer is so deep on one single idea to release you from the false self and to release you from escaping the here now? You know, it's very interesting. So as you say amen, just know that the blessings already are. Feel that the blessings already are. It's already done. The journey back has already been completed. We're just experiencing it. It's already been done, you know. Now, you might notice that in some versions of this prayer it goes, lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. Then there's a sentence that comes, for thine is the kingdom, the power, and the glory, forever and ever, and amen. That line, as far as my knowledge goes, was added on to later. That is why we don't have it. We go straight from that to amen. That line of, for thine is the kingdom, the power, and the glory, forever and ever, amen. I think that, if I'm not wrong, was added by the Catholic Church sometime later on. So it's not here, okay? In case you're wondering. So a few closing notes. I'm just going to read through them. The blessings already are. Avoid the pitfall of asking to entreat, you know, asking anxiously from a belief of not having, lacking, neediness. That's what it means to entreat. Ask instead to receive what is already given, to accept what is already there. You see? Remember, in the quantum field, everything is already made and all versions of your life exist. Nothing is denied. And in the here now, all exists. You are already given what is best for you in that moment. Ask, therefore, that you are able to see and receive it and to accept it. Remember, ultimately the point of this prayer is not just to give you what you think you want. It is to purify you, to release you from illusions and bring you to the truth of the present moment and who you really are. Apply this to everything in your life, both good and bad, to what you want and what you don't want, to what you have and what you don't have, everything. As you pray, let go, surrender, live in the present fully with singular consciousness, okay? Use the praying to make conscious your subconsciousness, okay? And in that way, you will discover your true essence and your needs, unobstructed by conditioning and expectations. And as you do this prayer, you will thus be able to shape your motivation very well. Also, be as a child, fully present in the here now. This prayer is also about healing your inner child until it can stand in the light of the present without hiding. By the way, in the power of one, the cause. I have prepared a module specifically on the inner child. Every principle has negative and positive. That is unconditional love. Avoid the instinct to choose or judge one over the other. Dissolve your habitual patterns of attachment or resistance to the various positive or negative aspects of divine light within us. Don't rely on your own strength and judgment. Rely instead on your Father's strength, your Creator's strength, and His judgment, your spirit, your higher self. Okay? If you rely only on your own strength and judgment, that's where the problem is. So you can't rely on it. Okay? Face your cross, in quotes, your fears. Your cross means your fears. the deepest of which is being separated and alone, especially from your Creator. Pick up your cross and use it to make your life better. Use it to transform dark into light. Spiritual alchemy, that's what it's called. Our cross is the seed of unrealized great blessings. In other words, whatever it is that you're fearful of and whatever, once you transcend that fear, you will realize the unrealized or previously hidden great blessings. Behind your fears and resistance, if you don't hide and run, but you face and heal them, you will find great treasures. Rejoice whenever you come face to face with one of your fears, for if you stand your ground and rely on His strength and face it and go through that which you fear, on the other side you'll find a great reward, a greater version of yourself. Perfect detachment from egotistic distractions and perfect engagement in the present moment results in living in the present with no opposites or opposition. See this as you pray. Ooh, let's go slow on that one. That's interesting. The Buddha taught all about detachment from egotistic distraction. In other words, he was like, suffering is caused by attachment and resistance. That's what the Buddha taught. So saying instead of suffering and instead of attachment and resistance, practice detachment. So in that way, you're not trying to hold on to anything, and you're not trying to fight against anything. Okay. And then Jesus, on the other hand, taught perfect engagement in the present moment. In other words, he said, "Be here now. Don't worry about the future. Don't worry about tomorrow. Trust, have faith." Just, do you understand? That's his whole sort of like a core part of his message. Love in the present moment. Okay, that's what Jesus taught. When you put these two together, you result in living in the present with no opposites or opposition. Remember, the only thing that was opposing you was your own mind fighting with the here now. Things happen in the here now, what is, and you thought, no, I don't want that, or oops, that is going. That was the only opposition that existed. It's in your mind. If you stop that, you will find that you have no opposition. Can you see that? Now see this as you say these prayers, and also as you go throughout your day. So give thanks for everything, absolutely everything. We've already seen why that's so. Avoid resistance or attachment. Let go, surrender. Treat that which you wish to attach to or hold on to as the same imposter as the one which you wish to resist. In other words, the good and the bad, treat them as the same. You know, victories and defeats, treat them the same. You know what I mean? They're the same imposter. See, as long as they come from the ego, it's an imposter. It doesn't matter whether you think that one makes you happy and the other one makes you unhappy. As long as it comes from the ego, it's the same. It's just wearing clothes that maybe you might like today and tomorrow you don't, you know? When there is nothing of more or less value, we see the face of the Creator in everything. Cultivate. That's a very important sentence, by the way. The minute you stop judging, the minute you start giving some things more value and something less value, you will see the face of the Creator in everything. Cultivate a listening heart, open and empty of preconditions, prejudices, and judgments. Pray with feeling from your heart. Embody the words. Don't just recite the words. Remember that we fail to get what we truly want, which is unconditional love. That's what we truly want. We try and get money, we try and get cool, whatever we do, ultimately, we're trying to fill this hole, trying to get unconditional love. We fail to get that because we are seduced by our five senses. And our five senses are broken perception. Yeah? A perception based on the illusion of separation. That's what our five senses are. And yet we give faith to them. We believe that what we see is, like somebody tells you, oh, do you know that, somebody tells you something that is amazing. You're like, I don't believe it till I see it. You're like, oh, like the Creator exists. I don't believe it till I see it. You can't see it. Your eyes aren't designed to see it. If you check out the module on quantum field in the power of one, the course, here on this website, miracles4.me, you will come to a very, very clear scientific understanding that your five senses are not designed to see anything more than 1/50th of 1% of what exists, if that. Okay? So don't get seduced and trapped by your five senses. They're not capable of showing you the big picture or the whole picture or the truth. They're not built for it. The blessings already are built into every experience in life without exception. We already are the light. This prayer simply helps us to let go of our ego's negation of this fact. Did you see that? The prayer helps us to let go of our ego's negation of this fact that we are already the light, that blessings are already built into every experience without fail, without exception. Seek first your Father's kingdom, and all things shall be added unto you. This is ultimately the point of this prayer and the teachings in A Course in Miracles. Again, that's something we find in the Power of One. What does this mean? Seek first the kingdom, and all things shall be added unto you. The kingdom is who you really are. Once you realize who you really are, which we've talked about extensively in this video and in the one on deep meditation and so on, you will find that you are an infinite, omnipresent, omnipotent, super powerful being, that you don't have actually even the concept of need is an illusion. Do you understand that? Once you've touched on the kingdom and you remember who you really are, you'll also realize that even need is an illusion. And you will need nothing from henceforth, you see? And that's what it means that all things shall be added unto you, because there will be no more need. Do you understand how that works? Your Father's kingdom is literally at hand because it is within you. Seek neither here nor there for your Father's kingdom, for your Father's kingdom is actually within you. Love your Creator with all your heart, your mind, and spirit. You cannot serve two masters. It's a total commitment. The blessings already are. Ask and it is given. Seek and you shall find. Knock and it shall be opened unto you. Practice being in this world but not of it. Be in this world but not of it. So just that, that's it, man. I think you've really enjoyed that. I think you found some kind of benefit out of it. At least I believe so. And I thank you for your time and for your interest even, and for your passion in this. And I encourage you to go teach it to somebody else. Okay, just pass it on. That would be really, really cool. So thank you very much for your time, and have a great prayer.